Welcome. So, if you don't know me, my name's Brett, and I used to be extremely addicted to ultra processed food, Crumble, In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A, candy, whatever you can think of. I love that stuff. And in overcoming this addiction I had, I became the best version of myself mentally and physically. I got rid of all my brain fog, sleep like a baby now. I'm in great shape, all because I overcame my processed food addiction. So, let's get into it. The issue with processed food. So, why should you even care about overcoming this problem that you may face in the first place? Well, you probably keep going to the junk food if you clicked on this video. No matter how hard you try, it just keeps calling your name. And I was the same way, and I really didn't know what to do. Every single day, I would wake up feeling exhausted, even after a full night's sleep, just not feeling my best, not knowing why. And I didn't really realize this until I started cutting it out. I didn't realize how good I could feel. And I was craving food whenever I was not hungry. And it's the same thing with you. You probably crave junk food even when you're not hungry. Chips, candy, all that stuff is super appealing 24/7, even when we're not hungry. And this is because these food companies have designed it this way on purpose, essentially to hijack our brain's reward system and making us feel extremely good whenever we eat these foods, so we keep coming back for more. It's really extreme. It sounds extreme to say this, but essentially these foods act like a drug. They just feed our brain's dopamine system. And chances are you've tried eating healthy. You've tried to get rid of this problem that you have, but it's just too complicated and you don't even know where to start. It can be very overwhelming. And if our goal is to have a lean, energetic body and, feel our best 24/7, not have any brain fog, not have any of these cravings that are, really holding us back from becoming the best version of ourselves, we need to fuel the right way. The food that goes into our bodies fuels us and helps us perform at work, at school, in working out, our relationships, whatever it is, food is the source of that. And you can still achieve your dream physique or have high energy, whatever your goal is, while having freedom and no guilt. You can have the freedom to be able to eat delicious food and not be guilty after eating it. So that's the goal with this. So, why should you listen to me in the first place? Who am I? Well, my name is Brett, like I said, and I was trapped in what I like to call the cycle because of how good these foods are when we eat them, because of how good they make our brain feel, like I said before. There is a cycle of just coming back for more. You eat more, you want more, and it's just an endless cycle. And I used to love all the sugar. I would eat, three these crumble cookies at a time, Wingstop here, more crumble there. I loved all this junk, especially crumble. I loved crumble. And I would wake up feeling exhausted after a full night of sleep, bloated, inflamed. And I was working out a ton and still didn't have abs. And I had terrible acne. And when I cut these foods out of my diet, 90% of the time, I fixed all of these issues, especially my skin. That was the main cause of my acne. And I thought it was normal because I realized that this isn't talked about that much. It's not a normal topic, especially in the United States. So I thought it was normal to be eating these foods all the time and feeling this way with really bad skin. Little did I know that it was actually extremely easy for me to fix all of these issues. Food. So this was the turning point for me. Like I said before, I was really inflamed. I had no abs. As you can see here, these photos are less than a year apart. And it's because I made the changes that I'm about to show you. No abs here, abs there. And I felt a lot better. My entire body was inflamed in this photo, not just where my abs were. And the starting point for me was actually educating myself on what I was putting into my body, what was in crumble, what was in, Chick-fil-A. And I learned that there was 50, 60 ingredients in one crumble cookie, in one Chick-fil-A sandwich. And when I realized that I was putting a bunch of, chemicals and garbage, it may be the source of all my problems, because my body isn't naturally meant to process these foods. And so I realized, okay, if I want to change, I should start out with this, cutting out things that my body is not meant to process. And at first, it was hard. I really wanted the junk food, especially for those first week or two. But I found ways to satisfy all my cravings so that I was not restricting myself, and I still felt that I had the freedom to eat whatever I want while being not inflamed and feeling the best version of myself, because that is the goal, to have the freedom and not restrict yourself while looking and feeling your best. And so that's what I do now. I have the freedom to enjoy food while looking and feeling my best. So this is what ultra processed foods actually do to our bodies. Now, there is a whole list of things. This is just the surface level. But like I said before, they are designed to make us overeat. They hijack our brain's reward system so that they are so addictive that we just keep coming back for more. I mean, it's super comparable to a drug. And they spike our blood sugar, which causes that cycle that I was talking about. So when you eat a donut or a crumble cookie, for example, that spikes the hell out of your blood sugar, and that causes that energy spike and then that crash. And at the bottom of the crash, you want more because you want that energy. Your body naturally craves that energy spike again. So the more that you eat, the worse this cycle is. And the bigger the spikes, the bigger the crashes. And our bodies were not designed to process all of these ingredients, all of these chemicals that are created in a lab. So that's what causes all of this bloating and inflammation, as well as the fact that they have no micronutrients. Now, micronutrients are what's found in natural foods. So beef, eggs, fruit, avocados, all of these foods are natural, and they have micronutrients which are essential for our body to function, for our brain to function, for our muscles to repair and grow. And this is the cause of brain fog, mood swings, low energy. Any symptom that you feel is because you are not getting in a sufficient amount of micronutrients. And this is what happened to me for the longest time, because I didn't understand that micronutrients are the source of our body. It's what our body runs off of. So this is a visual of what it currently is like. So I'll give an example of for me. So before I had a cue, right? I was craving sugar, I was craving crumble, and my routine was getting crumble. And the reward was me feeling good after. Now this is a habit cycle, as you can see. So get the thing, get crumble, feel good after, go back. And our goal with this is to not remove the routine, is to not say, no, you can never satisfy your cravings, but it is to replace the routine. So for example, instead of, obviously I still crave sugar, the cue is still the same, but instead of getting crumble, alcohol in this example, I eat fruit, or I eat Greek yogurt, or I eat something healthy that still satisfies that craving, but doesn't give me the negative effects of crumble, of whatever it is that you're craving. So I still satisfy that craving. So my quality of life is still the same. I'm not restricting myself, and I still get that same reward, but it's just a different routine. So that's the goal. And this is the solution, is the whole food advantage, what I like to call the whole food advantage. And that is eating single ingredient foods, or whole foods, as I will refer to in this presentation, 90% of the time. And what that is anything that comes from nature. So you can see here, berries, banana, eggs, yogurt under here, coconut. All of these foods are natural, right? They all come from nature. And that's why this is not a diet. It is a very sustainable way to eat long term, because you're eating literally anything that comes from nature. And this is what nature intended. This is what our bodies are made for. So you can still satisfy that salty craving. You can still satisfy that sugar craving. Whatever craving you have, you can satisfy through whole foods, through single ingredient foods. And this is what our bodies were made to eat, not the labs, not this food that was created in a lab, that didn't exist 100 years ago. Natural whole foods. And you can still get your cravings in guilt-free. I mean, if you look at this here, this is absolutely delicious. I put honey in there, a bunch of fruit, Greek yogurt. It tastes like ice cream. It tastes like candy. And the thing is I'm going to feel great after eating this. And it also has protein, which helps me recover from workouts. And I have no guilt after because I satisfied that craving while also helping my body perform and using food as fuel. And every single problem I had, the acne, the bloating, the inflammation, improved or disappeared. I essentially have almost no acne now, still do sometimes, but it improved massively. I have high energy all throughout the day. None of these energy spikes or crashes, and I sleep extremely well and wake up feeling refreshed the next day. All because I changed the way I eat. So, I mean, this is just a couple more examples of, what you can eat, right? I mean, it's anything. Oh, so, right, for example, right here, we got steak. Look at that. Absolutely delicious. Right here. I need this camera. Chicken, rice, spinach. Here we have berries with honey, Greek yogurt, coconut flakes. Same thing here. I mean, this stuff is absolutely delicious. It's not restrictive at all. And it's just kind of a food pyramid. You have red meat, chicken, fish, avocado, olive oil, fruit, vegetables, squash, sweet potatoes, dark chocolate, coffee, and then some spices, some salt. I mean, it's like anything that is, you see that everything here is derived from nature. And that's the goal, is to eat like that 80 to 90% of the time. And this is the thing, is that it just adds more freedom to your life because you can eat without having that stress of gaining weight. Oh no, like if I eat too much or if I eat this, I'm going to gain weight. Yeah, obviously if you eat an immense amount, you are going to gain weight, but it's a lot harder to gain weight when you're eating single ingredient natural foods. And there is no need to obsess over portions of, oh, I know I need to eat this much protein. You can just eat until you feel satisfied. And you probably won't gain weight if you prioritize protein. Now, I'll get into that in a minute. But this also brought me no more constant hunger, which is freedom. No more just wanting to snack all the time, right? Because I feel satisfied when I eat these meals to the point where I don't have that constant hunger throughout the day. So it adds freedom to my life where I'm not always thinking about food. I'm not always thinking about the next meal. And it unlocks another level of energy, productivity, like I've mentioned 3 times already throughout this, as well as libido, especially for those guys out there. It boosts your testosterone. Cutting out the processed food 90% of the time boosts your testosterone, which increases libido. And the thing about this is that you can enjoy holidays, occasions, going out with friends, whatever it is, without having to worry, because when you're at home, and you're eating these foods 80 to 90% of the time, you can just have the cake, you can have the crumble, you can have whatever it is that other 10% of the time, and you don't have to worry because you know that you're sticking to a whole foods. You're just eating whole foods. 90%. I'm trying not to use the word diet because it's not a diet. So that's the goal, is freedom, to be able to enjoy holidays and occasions without guilt or worry of losing or gaining weight. So how can you start, right? This sounds great. I'm able to satisfy all my cravings, eat the junk food occasionally when I go out, and have all the freedom and not gain weight and feel my best. So the first thing is to notice when and why you crave junk food. Now, this may be hard at first because it was for me, but the more you do this, the more you will be in touch with your body. So, for example, I noticed yesterday I was craving sugar really bad. And I thought to myself, okay, why? Well, there was 2 reasons at that time. Number 1, I was sleep deprived. And number 2, I was bored. And those are 2 of the main reasons why junk food cravings happen. But at the moment, that was it for me. So when you notice when and why, you become more in touch with your body. And the second thing is to just get rid of any junk snacks in the house. This was a huge problem for me. I had cookies. It was mostly cookies. I had cookies on the counter and I would just run through them because they were right there. They were available. And when you do that, you get rid of the junk snacks that you have in the house. It increases the friction between you and the bad habit. This being the cookies in my example. And when you do this, you make your bad habits an uphill battle. And this friction is me having to go to the store and leave my house to be able to satisfy that bad habit. So it makes it harder. And it may be hard at first, but I promise you it gets easy, and then you feel free and you replace it with fruit or protein to the point where you don't even want the cookies anymore because your body knows how you feel after, and you have some fruit, you satisfy that craving and you feel great after. And that's the goal, is to feel great, feel our best, as well as prioritizing high protein meals. And I guarantee you this will kill 90% of your cravings when you do this, when you eat a lot of protein, because protein is very filling. So even if you have, Chick-fil-A or some processed place, if you have high protein, you will crave less and you will inherently eat less and gain less weight. So starting small, right? Swap one meal for a whole food version. So for example, I used to eat crumble on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis. And I swap that out for Greek yogurt bowls and fruit and dark chocolate. So for example, if you start the day off by, going to McDonald's, try starting your day off with eggs or Greek yogurt or whatever it is that you like. That's single ingredient natural food. So one meal at a time is the easiest way to do this, because then after you have that one meal, you realize how good you feel, and then your brain kind of goes, okay, I like this. Let's start doing this more and more. So that's the goal, is to start small. Okay, so now that you've replaced all the junk in your house, what are the alternatives for cravings? Because like I said, you're still going to get those cravings. What we're doing is just replacing the routine. So these are just some of my favorite things. This is just a small example of the hundreds of thousands of combinations that you can do. I love fruit, Greek yogurt with honey, dark chocolate. In this photo, I actually mix them all together. I have some dark chocolate right there. Absolutely delicious. Cures my sweet tooth every single time. Salty, greasy cravings, ground beef with avocado, salmon with sweet potato, salmon. Oh, I meant to say chicken with rice. Any high protein meal. You can see I put eggs with sausage and some sourdough bread there. It's just anything that's, notice how all of these foods are natural. They're derived from nature, right? So that's the goal. Sugary drinks. Now, when we crave soda and other sugary drinks, our bodies are actually craving electrolytes. So one of the ways to satisfy this sugary drink craving is just good tasting electrolytes in water. So some of my favorite are Santa Cruz Paleo. They taste great, all natural ingredients. And as well as coconut water and smoothies. Absolutely love protein smoothies. This is just a couple examples of some alternatives for cravings. Now that you know this, you're probably going to head to the grocery store, check it out, see what you can get. And the one of the best things that helped me, and I didn't know before I learned this, is that on the perimeter of the grocery store is actually where all the fresh and perishable food is at. So everything, fruit, vegetables, dairy, eggs, meat, all of the fresh food is on the perimeter of the grocery store. So as a general rule of thumb, just shopping the perimeter of a grocery store can help a lot. And some good staples in my day-to-day life that I enjoy are eggs, ground beef, chicken thighs, salmon, yogurt, rice, potatoes. You can mix and match these, and it's anything that's natural, single ingredient. And do not go hungry to the grocery store. I used to make this mistake a lot. And when we go hungry, we're kind of just craving anything. So we'll grab a lot of, cereal, ice cream, things that we don't necessarily want, but we just want at the moment. So that's the whole goal with not keeping the junk in the house, to increase the friction. And the same thing goes at the grocery store, just to not go hungry, because you're doing yourself a disservice. And if possible, if you have access to one, if you have the budget for one, farmers markets are the best option. They have the freshest food, local ingredients, local food, and you're also just supporting your community. So farmers markets are great. It's also a cool place to hang out with people. Some more tips to reduce cravings. Eating on a schedule. Now, if you can do this, if you have a job that, has a set schedule, whatever your situation is, if you can eat on a schedule, this helps a ton. This way, your body knows exactly when it needs to eat. So you're not going to be hungry, craving food randomly throughout the day once you're eating on a schedule. So, just eating before work, at lunch, after, your body will just naturally succumb to the schedule and you will not crave. Another thing is just keep yourself busy. I notice that whenever I have nothing to do and I'm just bored, I'm just craving food because our brain is telling us we're bored. We need to feel good. How can we do that? And one of the ways to feel good is to eat food. So keeping yourself extremely busy throughout the day. You'll notice, on those days when you have a lot of stuff to do, you don't really think about eating. And, you may forget to eat until later on in the day just because you're so busy. It's the same thing when you're just sitting at home. And staying hydrated. Like I just mentioned before, hydrating with electrolytes or even just drinking a lot of water throughout the day is going to reduce those cravings, because a lot of the times cravings are derived from a lack of dehydration. So when you stay hydrated, you are reducing those cravings. And if you ever notice when you're stressed out, you tend to go towards the junk food. And this is natural. This is because eating reduces stress, and our bodies crave that food to help reduce stress. So some ways that you can reduce your stress overall is just prioritizing sleep. Getting more sleep. I know you probably hear this all the time, but just getting more sleep, it is so important, especially for cravings. Like I said yesterday, I was craving sugar because I was tired and hot and stressed out. And walking, just exercising, any de-stressing activity to just lower that stress will reduce those cravings, like I said. And like I'll say it again, don't keep any junk in the house. That is the number one thing, and I'm really trying to drill it into your head. That is the number one thing. And if you follow this, you get rid of the junk, you eat 80 to 90% whole foods, and it's amazing. I'm about to eat a protein shake with some fruit and milk, and I'm looking for a smoothie, I guess, and I'm looking forward to it. It's not restrictive at all, and you will have so much energy and feel your best. This is less than a year apart. Again, no abs, super inflamed, acne, bloated in my face, and then this is me eating clean, sticking to these things that I just laid out for you. So I'm so passionate about this stuff because it really changed my life. It helped got rid of my cravings and added so much freedom into my life, because now I have the freedom and the control over my decisions. I don't feel the need to go get crumble or go get the junk food or go get the Oreos. I don't feel it gravitating towards me. I choose if I want to go have the Oreos or the crumble. And that's the goal with this, is to take control and then gain that freedom to be able to choose whenever we want to have the junk food or the processed food, the cravings. So I hope this video helps you get rid of your cravings. I will link my Instagram down below. I do weekly Q&As on there. So if you have any other questions specifically about your situation, I can go in depth on that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Peace out.